All right, let's talk about Monday Night Football. Yes, the big story was the injury to Tyreek Hill, and that's a gut punch. Anytime one of the league's most explosive players goes down, it hurts. But here's the thing. The Dolphins still showed plenty of reasons for optimism. First off, Miami finally got that first win of the season, and it came against the Jets. And let's be honest, there's nothing sweeter for Dolphins fans than shutting down New York in primetime. Now, the main concern is Tyreek Hill, but once you look past that, the tape actually reveals a lot of positives. One that really stands out. Rasul Douglas. This guy has been nothing short of a revelation. Signed late in the offseason, not even projected as a starter, and now? He's playing like the best cornerback on the roster. Against the Jets, he posted an elite coverage grade, nearly flawless for most of the night. Sure, Garrett Wilson broke free late for a touchdown, but outside of that, Douglas blanketed him all game long. And this isn't just a one-week flash. Over the last 3 games, against the Bills, Patriots, and now the Jets, Douglas has been consistently outstanding. Through his first 4 starts, he's allowed only 7 catches on 13 targets. That's barely over 50% completions against him, and that's huge for this Miami defense. So yes, Tyreek Hill's injury is concerning. But the Dolphins proved Monday night that they're more than just one star player. They're building depth, resilience, and finding playmakers in unexpected places. And that's exactly what you want to see as we move toward Week 5 against Carolina. Now, let's keep it real. Yes, Douglas gave up that touchdown, but that was the only one. And honestly, it shouldn't have counted in the first place. Outside of that, he's been lights out. 3 pass breakups, a quarterback rating allowed of just 102.7 when targeted. And that's a huge improvement from last year in Buffalo, where he gave up a much higher rating. Clearly, the Dolphins' zone-heavy scheme has unlocked his strengths. Digging into the advanced numbers, it's even more impressive. His completion rate allowed over expected is basically 0, meaning he's right where he needs to be, but still making the plays that matter. His coverage EPA is positive, his tight window coverage rate is over 30%, and he's holding receivers to barely over 1.5 yards of separation. Those are the stats of a shutdown corner. And right now, Rasul Douglas is carrying this secondary on his back, even with the inconsistency from guys like Jack Jones, Cornell Armstrong, Ifeatu Melifonwu, and Ashton Davis. But Douglas isn't the only bright spot for Miami. Let's talk about Patrick Paul. The second-year left tackle has been quietly building a case as one of the Dolphins' most reliable players. His run-blocking numbers still need work, but when it comes to protecting the quarterback, this kid is a wall. Think about it. This was only his 7th career start. 3 last season for this year. And yet, he's already the 8th highest graded pass-blocking tackle in the entire NFL through 4 weeks. Only 1 sack allowed. Minimal pressures. When Patrick Paul sets his feet and gets his hands on you, you're not getting past him. His size, his strength, his balance, it's all there. Yes, the Dolphins are sitting at 1-3. But if you're looking for silver linings, Patrick Paul's development is one of the brightest. This is the kind of cornerstone piece you want protecting your quarterback for the next decade. And the fact that he's already showing this level of dominance so early in his career, that's something Dolphins fans should be fired up about. Patrick Paul is just a nightmare for defenders. His balance, his center of gravity, it's elite. You're not going to beat him with a bull rush. The only chance you have is with speed, maybe a quick rip move to knock his hands down before he locks you up. But once Paul gets his hands on you, forget it. Play over. You're done. Watching him dominate in pass protection has been one of the best things about this season. Honestly, Dolphins fans should be excited. This kid looks like he's going to be a cornerstone for years to come. Now let's move to another surprising bright spot, Cole Strange. Out of nowhere, he started at right guard against the Jets, and I'll be honest, I didn't see it coming. But once he was out there, he made his presence felt. Strange was kind of the opposite of Patrick Paul. His run blocking was solid, graded nearly 70, but his pass blocking struggled, coming in at under 40. He allowed 2 pressures, but no sacks, and that's important. More importantly, he showed toughness in the run game, something Miami desperately needs up front. And let's be real, he looked far more dependable than guys like Kean Smith or Daniel Brunskill, who have both struggled badly in their opportunities. Strange isn't perfect, but compared to what Miami has rolled out at guard lately, he's an upgrade. The bottom line? Cole Strange earned the right to keep his spot in this rotation. Once James Daniels and Andrew Meyer return, the Dolphins need to make some tough decisions. But if it comes down to keeping Strange over other struggling linemen, that's a no-brainer. This offensive line has been one of Miami's biggest question marks, but But seeing Patrick Paul grow into a rock at left tackle and Strange step in with fight and grit, that's the kind of progress this team desperately needed. Looking ahead to Week 5, the offensive line remains one of the most important storylines for the Dolphins. The big news? James Daniels is progressing toward a return. He was placed on IR before Week 2, which meant he had to miss 4 games. That run ends this week, and he's now eligible to come back in Week 6 against the Chargers. And let's be clear, that's huge. Daniels was signed on a 3-year, $24 million deal to help stabilize this unit. And if he's able to return from that pec injury and stay healthy, the Dolphins' offensive line could finally reach its true potential. Now, while Daniels has been sidelined, Cole Strange stepped in and did just enough to hold things down. He's been solid, not spectacular, but considering the struggles Miami has had with depth at guard, his performance was more than respectable. The expectation, of course, is that Daniels will reclaim his starting role when he's ready, but Strange at least gave this team a bit of breathing room. What really stood out against the Jets was how the Dolphins ran the football. They leaned heavily to the left side, outside of Patrick Paul and the tight ends. 7 carries to the left edge averaged over 5 yards per attempt. That's outstanding work in space from Alec Ingold, the tight ends, and of course Paul sealing the edge. Running inside was less effective. Between the left guard and center, they struggled to gain much traction. But that just highlights where Miami's strength is right now, leaning on Patrick Paul's dominance and stretching defenses horizontally. So as we approach Week 5, Dolphins fans should be encouraged. The offensive line isn't perfect, but it's already stronger than it was last season, and reinforcements are coming. When James Daniels returns, Miami could finally have the kind of front 5 that gives Tua the protection he needs to unlock the full potential of this offense. One of the biggest positives from Week 4? The Dolphins finally committed to the run game. This is something fans have been begging Mike McDaniel to do, and against the Jets, he finally delivered. Miami dialed up 28 designed runs. Add in a few scrambles, and they crossed the 30 rush mark on the night. That's the kind of balance this offense needs. Compare that to Week 1, where the Dolphins had only 10 designed runs after falling behind early. That's not enough, no matter who your quarterback is. In today's NFL, you can't be that one-dimensional. Week by week, though, you can see the growth. 15 carries in Week 2, 20 in Week 3, and now nearly 30 in Week 4. That's the right trajectory, and it couldn't come at a more important time with Tyreek Hill sidelined. The passing game won't have the same explosiveness without him, so leaning on the run game is essential. What really stood out was how effective Miami was running behind Cole Strange and Aaron Brewer. On just 3 carries between the right guard and center, they averaged 7 yards per attempt. Small sample size, sure, but that's efficiency you can build on. Strange and Brewer looked like a real tandem, opening lanes and giving Devon a chain room to operate. And the best part? Reinforcements are on the way. Austin Jackson and James Daniels could both be back soon, which means for the first time this season, Miami might finally see their preferred 5-man unit, Paul, Brewer, Daniels, Jonah, and Jackson, on the field together. That's the kind of group that can set the tone and carry this team forward. The Dolphins don't just need to run the ball, they need to own it. And if they keep building on this momentum, they just might. Now let's talk defense, because at long last, the Dolphins finally forced turnovers. And honestly, it's about time. Look, this defense hasn't been great. Against the Jets, they still gave up plenty of yards and didn't exactly dominate in efficiency stats. But they did what they hadn't done all season. They made game-changing plays. First, Jack Jones with the textbook peanut punch at the goal line. That strip turned what could have been a Jets touchdown into a Dolphins scoring drive, a massive 14-point swing early in the game. Then came the 4th down strip sack on Justin Fields, another huge momentum shift. And if that wasn't enough, Miami opened the second half by forcing a fumble on the kickoff and recovering it. 3 takeaways in one night after going the first 3 weeks without a single one. That's the formula right there. This defense is going to give up yards. It's inevitable. But if they can create turnovers, they can survive. They can tilt the game back in Miami's favor. It's not about being perfect. It's about making the 1 or 2 plays that change everything. And for the first time this year, they finally did it. So Dolphins fans, I want to hear from you. What was your biggest takeaway from the Week 4 win over the Jets? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. For me, it's Rasul Douglas. Week after week, this guy just keeps proving he's the anchor of this secondary. Let's close things out by looking ahead, because October is absolutely crucial for the Miami Dolphins. 5 games, 5 chances to prove who they really are before the November 4th trade deadline. By that point, Miami will have to decide. Are they buyers looking to strengthen for a playoff push? Or are they sellers preparing for the future? Here's the opportunity. It starts this week against Carolina. The Dolphins are favored, and this is a game they should win. After that, they return home to face the Chargers, a winnable matchup, especially with Los Angeles banged up, missing key starters, and traveling across the country. Then comes Cleveland, a tough defense, but with Dylan Gabriel at quarterback, that's another game Miami can take. The Falcons have struggled, and even the Ravens, despite their talent, have been one of the worst defenses in football so far. That's the month. That's the gauntlet. If Miami can go 4-1 in this stretch, they'll be sitting at 5-4 heading into the deadline, with momentum and real playoff hopes. Even a 3-2 stretch keeps them in striking distance. But if they stumble, if they go 2-3 or worse, that could force some tough questions about the direction of this team. This is the season-defining stretch for the Dolphins. Beat Carolina. Take care of business at home. Put yourself in position to fight for something bigger down the stretch. The opportunity is right there. The only question is, will Miami seize it?